Welcome back, guys, to this week's episode of the Leo's Touch podcast. Today, I am incredibly excited because I not only have a good friend of mine, but I have somebody who I've talked about before in the show, on the show with me today, and that is my personal trainer, my own very personal trainer, and we are talking about mindset of a champion. And the reason being, and timing couldn't be better to talk about this with her, because she is now it would be provincial champion, right?
Yep.
Right? So provincial champion now, and soon to be, hopefully, I believe in her, to be a national champion as well. So without further ado, Sarah Bowe, say what's up to the people.
Hello, everybody. Hello, Internet. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for coming on the show. I couldn't be more excited because, one, you are an avid listener of the show.
I am, yes.
And two, so that support for us is just love it, absolutely love it. And you also train me to be a better trainer.
That's the goal. That's what I'm hoping for.
So worlds of gratitude from me for that. So, as you know, kind of leading into every episode, I ask the one question.
Mm-hmm.
What is the most meaningful thing to Sarah Bowe today?
Oh, well.
You knew this was coming.
I did know this was coming, and I feel like I should have been better prepared. Because if you had asked me this yesterday, it probably would have been something food related.
To clarify for everybody, if you want to share with everybody what you just went through before you answer the question, just so people get kind of context of why you are a champion.
Well, a champion in my own little world. So just this past weekend, I competed in our, I guess, regional or provincial level bodybuilding show in the women's physique category, to which I won the open category as well as the masters age group. So I won 2 titles this past weekend. So that was pretty exciting.
And that puts the crown on your head for sure. Unfortunately, Sarah
which
didn't bring
I forgot
her
to bring today. Wore it all day at work with no shame, but I forgot to bring it today.
Damn.
I know. I'm sorry. The metaphorical crown is always there.
Always.
Yeah.
So now kind of building off of that and full head of steam going forward, most meaningful thing to Sarah today?
The most meaningful thing to Sarah today is living in the moment. Living in the moment. And I say that today because of what's just transpired this past weekend and what the next stages are for me in my training and my competing, knowing that I have a very, let's say, tall order to rise to reach that next level, and knowing what mindset I need to be in to be able to reach that level and to achieve the things that I want to achieve. I've discovered that living in the moment is going to be key to a smooth prep, and to being able to really appreciate, the journey, as it were, and to be able to maintain that mindset of a champion that I've come to work so hard to achieve. So
with living in the moment and being present with what you're doing and appreciating every step of the process, and has that always been what you've reverted to? Because now you said this is your 10th, that was your 10th show this last weekend.
10th competition in over 7 years.
So how's your perception after the day or a few days after your competition and whatever the result of it being, but now more in particular with you winning both of those, how can you say that it's either changed or you're finding similarities from one experience to now?
Well, things have definitely changed over the years. When I first started out, very naive and not really knowing the process and what's involved, what to expect. It was just about, let's just get through it, right? And let's just try and, execute the plan and do what is required and see what happens.
Right.
And it took a long time to find the formula, as it were. I've worked with the same coach since day one, And it's been a learning process for both of us, right?
Yeah.
To figure out what works well, what doesn't work well, training wise, diet wise, cardio wise, all those things. But it's always been that, that mindset of focus and intent and purpose, that everything in the plan has a purpose. There's an intent, and a certain level of focus is required to be able to execute these things to get the result that you want. And it takes time. It doesn't always happen in the first show or the second show. I mean, some people, yes, it does. You're blessed with genetics, or some people are just better than I am at it. That's that's the reality of it, right? It's been a learning process for me, but being able to develop the extra focus, the extra purpose, the extra intent behind all of the steps that are necessary over the years and from show to show, and as well as I changed categories from one category to another. So that's another element that's changed, a different intent, a different focus,
right?
Different purpose behind certain things. But I think that even from day one, there was always the drive for, I don't want to say perfection,
right,
but to execute as flawlessly as I was capable of doing.
Yeah.
Obviously, my capabilities have improved over the years, so I've been able to, I mean, there's never perfection, but progression, right, towards executing those things better and better as the years go on. But I think it was almost like that little baby mindset at the beginning was always there.
Yeah.
Was always there. Because I feel that, translating from things in education in the past, going to school and wanting to do well.
Right.
Playing a sport and wanting to do well. And now this new sport and wanting to do well.
Yeah.
That mindset was always there. So if I'm putting effort into something, well, I'm going to put all of my effort into it.
Right.
Because what's the point in trying to do it if I'm not going to do it well?
And have you been able to, because just for everybody listening, Sarah has a very extensive education background. How many masters? 1, 2?
So I have a master's in medical microbiology.
Okay.
So I studied biochemistry and organic chemistry through my undergrad, and then went into faculty of medicine for graduate school and studied microbiology for a while.
So then would you say, because kind of relaying what you just said back, would you say that the mindset more or less of a champion was familiar to you because of what you achieved from an educational standpoint in sports or whatever?
Oh,
was
yes.
it familiar?
Oh, yes. Very much so. Very much so. And it's even going through schooling. I mean, I claim to be, no genius by any means, but, doing well through most of my education.
I mean, you don't get a master's for doing kind of,
I had to do a little bit of work.
Yeah.
Some work is required. They don't just hand those things out. I mean, it's not, but being able to, put the dedication in that was required for that level of education. Right. I mean, I had to work in a lab for 3.5 years. And I mean, wow. I slept at my desk several nights when having to do experiments that went overnight,
Yeah.
So that was what was required because that was part of my research. Then I did it.
Yeah.
Right. I began writing my thesis. Probably took me 1.5 years to write my thesis. And that was actually when I began competing. That was my first year competing.
Really?
So learning how to balance writing my thesis, finishing my research, and trying my first year of competing, trying to balance all of those things. I mean, that was fun. Perhaps that was not the best thing to try and do all at once. But, being able to translate the discipline that was required to, like, hey, I need to get this chapter done in my thesis tonight. Yeah. Okay, well, I have this workout I need to get done for my plan, and I have, this X number of minutes of cardio that I must do, and then I have to prep my food for the next day because I got to be back at the lab for, 7 in the morning to continue my research, and I have to get this chapter done, and so forth and so forth and so forth.
I'm not gonna try and make too many Spider-Man references in this episode, but sounds like you were like
just
Spider-Woman.
Just do it. Just do it.
That literally sounds like Peter Parker's life. I love it because everybody knows I'm a huge Spider-Man fan. But so in the midst of all that, when did you start working out? Like actually getting into working out? Well, let's not say actually working out, but when did exercise really become apparent to you as like a valuable tool or asset?
I mean, so I played sports, through my childhood, like every good Canadian, soccer and hockey and, swimming lessons and all that kind of stuff.
Fair.
And then it was, you kind of get to that 16, 17 end of high school when there aren't team sports as available. So, okay, well, now it's kind of my job to do my own fitness. So I joined the gym at the university and,
okay.
Like every other 20-year-old, I'm like, I'm going to go on the elliptical for 20 minutes every day. And then I'm going to do 50 crunches because that's what you do for fitness.
Yeah.
I didn't know. And then, trying to stave off, freshman 15 and all that kind of thing. Because, I mean, happened to me just like everybody else. You're taking, 6 classes and 4 of them have labs and you're at school from 6 a.m. until 10:30 p.m. And there's a part-time job in there somewhere too. And but what actually ended up happening was I joined the Big Good Life Gym on Kenniston when they first opened because they were close to home.
Right.
Because they had classes. I love the group classes. So I joined the gym specifically to go to group classes.
Yeah.
They were so much fun, but they also had a schedule.
Right.
They were, every day at 5:30 there was a spin class.
Something you could rely on in your schedule.
It was something else that I could easily put into my schedule because I knew that when I just had to go on the elliptical at the gym at the school, I didn't always go. So I went to this place that had a schedule and I could put it into my calendar and I went every day. I did my spin class and I did my pump class and I tried combat and that was hilarious in the beginning. So let's not go there. But and then after a couple of years, so like maybe 2 years of doing that, I was approached by one of the spin instructors who said, "You should be an instructor." And I was just like, "What? I just sit at the back and I drink my water and I spin real hard and I get sweaty and I leave." And she's like, "Nope, you should be a spin instructor." And I was like, "Okay."
Like, did you
I never spoke to anybody in the classes ever. I sat at the back under the speaker in the same spot.
That's like straight up like destiny, just like coming at your door, being like, "You're doing this."
Yeah. So I had to audition for the manager at the time.
Okay.
And long story short, they sent me for training, put me on the stage, gave me a microphone, and here we are today. Yeah. Apparently there was an extrovert in there somewhere. So, and then I started teaching spin classes and then I added some of the other programs and things like that. So I began as an instructor and then just started venturing out into the regular gym.
Yeah.
Started lifting weights because there was only so much you could do with just cardio. I wanted more.
Yeah.
Just started experimenting with different things and kind of just looking up online and that kind of stuff. And I had some friends who said, like, you work out a lot. You ever thought about competing? And I was like, no, I don't think so. And this one friend of mine, shout out Jeff, he's like, I know a guy. I'm like, oh, you do you? He's like, yeah, he's going to give you a call. And I'm like, all right. So I get a call from a very intense sounding man. And he's like, apparently I need to meet you. And I'm like, okay. So I went and met him. 7 years later, here we go. Darren's my coach. And that's the man I've been working with this whole time who has helped me to develop into the individual that I am today. Not just on stage, not just in the gym, but in life. So I've learned so much from him.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest influences in my life for the mindset that I have now.
Yeah.
And the way I've been able to adapt it for myself and for my own practices and my own lifestyle, as well as for my own coaching abilities, my own teaching abilities for my clients and for the people that I get to teach on a regular basis.
Yeah. And that's something, like, just speaking briefly on it is one of the, well, because I want to kind of touch on like why I started training with you, and how important it is for even a personal trainer, a coach, to have a coach,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's like this little ladder that needs to be there, because without that, you really don't, you just run into a wall. You just keep reciting the same shit that you've been reciting the whole time, and you're not
Exactly.
giving the person in which you're preaching that to the best value that you ultimately could. Because since I started working with you, like you talked about at the start, you always stated the intent of everything, every single thing that we did.
Mm-hmm.
And now one of my biggest factors with my clients is helping them state their intent, and how much of like a world bender that's doing for people, and how much that's making things so clear. So
because there's so much, regardless of the type of coaching you're doing, whether it's just, for general fitness in the gym, or it's a sport, or, or injury rehab, or anything, whatever kind of coaching you're doing, if you don't tell people the why, the buy-in is far, far less. If you don't give them a reason why you're making them do walking lunges up and down the turf with kettlebells over their head, they're going to be like, I don't want to fucking do that. That's stupid.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that. And they're like, tell them why you want them to deadlift using the trap bar and not the straight bar.
Yeah.
Right? They're like,
every intent, every little detail is so important. And one of the things too is why it just made so much sense to train with you, and why I knew and I felt like at that very moment, because you and I worked out once together, and you and I had a conversation before
one time.
that.
It was that one back workout. One back workout is all it did, and it was like every exercise. I swear, every exercise we went through, it was like the steam out of Parker's ears. It was just like every little.
It was a beautiful moment for me, because
it was wonderful.
I had only been working out like a knucklehead football player, and fortunately that worked for the most period of time or whatever. But like in that moment, and working out with you, and just feeling it in my body, and then feeling my mind work, and the muscle connection that you have with your own body, being able to kind of allow myself to understand it a little bit more too, and now teach it to my clients, has been, again, like a world bending thing that I've been able to do now, and add so much value. But within that, I knew that there was so much more than just getting ripped, than just getting jacked working with you, because your mindset, like just seeing you working, like at work, you're always on time, you're always there, you're always prepared, you have everything you need to be successful that day. And that's what I knew that I needed with my profession, and to me for me to become the best personal trainer I could. And so hearing you talk about your coach, it's like, for me, it gives me that reassurance that me having you as my coach is the best thing that I could be doing for myself. So again, much gratitude.
And that's,
from me.
and that's, it's a warm and fuzzies, and like, hashtag feelings that I don't do, but it's knowing that from even just me being able to affect you, and then you going and filtering down and affecting all of those other people, shows that just the small impact I've had on you has now impacted even more people, right? And so it's just those little tidbits that it's not for my benefit, not even for your benefit, but if it can benefit, the masses, as it were, because it helps somebody figure out, oh, this is how I move pain-free.
Yes.
Oh, I can actually do this. I'm not limited by X, Y, and Z, and it makes them feel more free.
Yeah.
That's a win in everybody's column, right? It's just those small little things. And even if it's just the details of being prepared for the day, whatever that means to you, like as a trainer, being on time, having your workouts planned, having, I don't know, a professional attitude walking into the gym, as it were, even if it's just those small things can make or break the success that you will then filter down to the people that you see in that day, right? So it's thinking about what are the components of your champion mindset, and what are those things that you need to be able to then filter down that champion mindset to the people that you impact on a daily basis, whether it's your client roster, or it's your group of members in your classes that you teach, or the massive listeners for your podcast. What are the things that you can then filter down into all of those different avenues to help translate your champion mindset to help others find their champion mindset.
Couldn't have said it better myself. That's beautiful. And like that kind of brings me into the next question is like, what are attributes of a champion mindset? Like, how can you recognize not only within yourself, right? Because all of us have attributes of a champion, but sometimes some attributes are missing, some attributes we need to learn, some experiences we haven't gone through yet to give us that backbone, that sense of resiliency that all champions go through, right?
Yeah.
So for you, clearly indicating within yourself, how are you able to be like, okay, I can do this and I can do this at a high level? What were things that you had in your tool belt that you could rely on?
Preparation. Preparation is key. And I mean, for me, in relation to my sport, I mean, preparation for my workouts, preparation for my meals, my nutrition, preparation for my supplements, for my cardio, even something as simple as I'm like, do I have my gym bag packed with all the things I need, right? Do I have the clothes I need to teach my class in the morning? Do I have a change of clothes to do my workout in the afternoon? Because not putting on that same sweaty sports bra again. Make that mistake once or twice and you check your gym bag very carefully.
Yeah.
Do I have my protein for my post-workout? Is it portioned in my bag ready to go? You know, those things. Is it ready to go? Or am I scrambling in the morning, being like, I'm going to grab this shirt, which one smells the least, and throwing it in a bag, and maybe I have a pair of socks or something, you know?
And then that person always is like, I never get this done, or this never happens for me.
Yeah, and then you run into the situation of, like, oh, I forgot to bring this, so I'm just not going to go.
Yeah.
You know, and when there's lack of preparation, it leaves the door open for excuses. Whatever that means.
Yeah.
You know, so, you know, failing to prepare to bring your appropriate workout attire. Well, I don't have my right shoes. Well, I'm not going to go to class.
And that happens so much.
It happens all the time. It happens all the time. So for anybody that works with me, I'm like, I always have spare socks. I always have a spare sports bra. That doesn't really help you, but, you know, just to sometimes help in those situations.
Yeah.
You know,
I like that you even just said that, like that you have those extra things just in
always
case.
Extra.
Because when we were at your house after your show, you were sharing with us how you were like mom backstage.
Oh yeah.
Right? With because I mean, just due to COVID, like there are things that there are some service and amenities that weren't there, which would normally be there. So
yeah, there was a few things that normally would be available to the athletes backstage. This time they were not, and I was like, well, I wasn't sure, so I was like, I better bring these things just in case they're not there. So I brought them, so I was prepared. But then there were many athletes who were like, oh my God, they don't have this here. What am I gonna do? And I'm just like, come here, I'll help you. And I'm, you know, bikini biting all these girls, and there's.
But again, that's but, like, you know, that level of preparation. Again, that's why you were on stage for, not even 30 seconds and you walk away with both trophies? I mean, that wasn't the sole cause. I mean, you know, the months and months and months of training.
Yeah, there's a little more to it than that. But just, those little details, right? Yeah. Having the appropriate things to ensure that I was prepared as best as I could be, right? Because if I didn't have those things, then... You know, it's like my suit wouldn't have been in the right position. I wouldn't, necessarily have gotten the best look on stage. And, then things might have gone differently. Who knows? But, it's like if there's something that's within your control to prepare for and to be ready for, then do it.
Yeah.
Then do it.
Yeah.
So, we talk about being prepared for workouts, things like that. When it comes to like nutrition, I mean, I prepare all of my meals a week in advance. So there is no guesswork. Mm-hmm. I get my meal plan.
I mean, well, chicken, broccoli, and rice and ketchup.
That's a winning combo. It's winning. It's good.
For anybody who wants to, this is...
It's good.
I have seen Sarah era, Sarah eat the same thing.
Yeah.
The only time I ever saw you eat something different was when I was at your house after your show.
Yeah. I know.
But still, I mean, consistency.
Well,
and,
consistency, and if it
that's-
makes it easier to prep things in bulk,
Yeah.
right? Then do it that way. If you don't care about eating the same thing something different every single day, or then it's just easier. Just easier. And when one of the biggest excuses for people is that I don't have time.
Right.
I don't have time. Well, here's a way to make it, to save yourself some time.
Yeah.
And sometimes it means you don't get to have something different every single day. But, there's lots of caveats in people's nutrition choices that, cause problems from, being consistent, but, there's differences for everybody, as it were. But there are, lots of those kind of tips and tricks to be able to be prepared as you possibly can be, so that you don't have to deviate, so that you can stay as consistent as possible. So you don't have the need to stop at the drive-thru on the way home or be like, what do I have in the cupboard? Okay, I've got mustard and a box of Pringles.
That'll
Dinner
work.
is
Let's
served.
go.
Yeah. I'm like, no.
No.
That is not going to get you to your goals. Absolutely not.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
With that being said, we're going to take a little break here, and then as we come back, we will start off with our next question. Hey guys, I hope you're enjoying this episode as much as we enjoyed making it. I wanted to take this time to share some information with you guys about Leo Fit. I'm launching Leo Fit with one out of 4 main services of our brand, and that is Leo Fitness Coaching. What that includes for those of you interested in the Winnipeg area is one-on-one in-person training. Secondly is our fully customizable workout plans for those of you anywhere in the world, with weekly check-ins on your progress and live coaching tips to help you achieve a higher fitness level. Again, I want to thank you guys so much for listening to today's episode, and for anyone interested in Leo Fit, you can email us at inquiriesleofit@gmail.com. Again, that is inquiriesleofit@gmail.com. Thank you guys so much for listening again, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the episode. Alrighty, we are back again with Sarah Bowe talking about the champion mindset. So, Sarah, coming into this next question is, how do you apply a champion mindset, or how has a champion mindset affected you in a way of where it's affected your personal life, and now it's also helping like your clients as well, and how do you teach it to your clients? What is that like for you?
Well, I think that it was important for me first to figure out what kind of champion I was wanting to be. So I knew what was the mindset that I wanted to establish for myself. What were the elements that were important for me to focus on?
Right.
To maintain that mindset through everything from schooling and education, through to sport and now competitive bodybuilding, as well as through my career and developing myself as a high-level personal trainer as well. So looking at what are the key things that make a champion to me, and then how can I then relate that in an attainable way to the people that I get to work with, and helping them to find the things that are important to them to figure out what kind of champion they want to be.
Right.
So for myself, it was, it would seem fairly obvious that to be a champion would be to win first place in a competition. And which, yes, happened to me this past weekend, and, a couple of other times in my bodybuilding career, but wasn't always the case. Many years of not even coming close to first place. So it took a lot of time to get to that point, but the mindset was still there. The same focus, the same drive, and the same purpose was still there, even without a first place. So knowing that wasn't necessarily the end all of my champion mindset, or my definition of being a champion. So thinking about what are those key things, and as silly as it might sound, it's about just being the best that you can be. It's like being able to, we talk about not perfection, but progression, like being able to see progress in those different elements that we talked about in workouts, in nutrition, in preparation, so that all of those things fall into place where they're supposed to, so that I get the result that I want.
Right.
Which, that first place is nice, right? It's
you get a tiara with it, of course.
And then you get the tiara, right?
Yeah.
Do
they call it crown or tiara? It's tiara, right?
It's a crown.
Okay.
I want to say tiara is a princess and a crown is for a queen, and I'm not a princess.
Crowns are for champions.
There you go.
There we go.
Right? They say it's like, winning's not everything, but it's something that's nice.
Yeah.
So, and it's pretty nice. So, taking those things for me, and how can I make that on a relatable level to, multiple people to help them find their champion mindset.
Not everybody's, an athlete. Not everybody can just, jump up on stage and look.
Not everybody I work with is trying to be a competitive bodybuilder.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
They might someday. Nudge, nudge. Wink, wink. But
I ain't doing that. After just to give a little side note, after this weekend, I was like, I think that's the last time I ever go to one of those things. I don't know what, watching you, I'll be honest, I almost teared up, when you're doing your solo thing, but that's because you're my coach and you're my trainer. I'm like, yeah, do it, but for thinking myself personally doing it, I'm like,
well,
no.
it's a very unique sport.
Yeah.
And it requires a very unique mindset. Because people who are within the know, they understand how the sport works, but it's not just, the 16 weeks or whatever to prepare for a show. Bodybuilding is 365 days a year, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day.
That's not even a joke. That's
if you want to be a champion.
Yeah.
And there is no other way around it. Whether you're a professional athlete, you're an Olympian, you're an amateur athlete like myself, you want to do well at it, you must commit. Mm-hmm. So how can I take this extreme level of being a champion to a more everyday approach?
Right.
And something that I can relate to the wonderful group of people that I get to work with on a daily basis, whether they're my one-on-one clients or the groups of people in my classes I teach on a weekly basis. So it's helping them to find their version of being a champion.
Yeah.
So, for example, it could be something as simple as making sure that they get to the gym those 3 days a week. Mm-hmm. If they get to the gym 3 days a week, for say a month straight, then that's their champion level up, right? Then they win at that portion of their champion mindset because they've committed to that portion. Mm-hmm. If they're, if they have a struggle with something in their nutrition, they struggle to eat consistently through the day because their work is so demanding and they don't have regular breaks or things like that.
Right.
It's hard to get meals in. But they remembered to bring a banana with them every single day. And they're like, my morning break, I ate that banana every single day this week. There you go. Now you're a champion at eating a banana every day this week.
But that has ripple effect.
Exactly, right? Because they start to do those little things, and they start to do those things consistently, and we start with a week at a time, and then it's 2 weeks and 3 weeks and 4 weeks and 3 months and 4 months, and then they start to see the results. Whether it's in their performance, that they're feeling they have better energy through the day, that they're not needing that extra cup of coffee, in the afternoon because they've etten an appropriate amount through the day, or they're starting to see their clothes fitting better, or they're starting to see they can survive through an entire RPM class with me on Friday nights, and they're not dying by track 4.
Into that room because that just terrifies me.
Mm-hmm. One day, it's just riding bikes, Parker.
Scares me.
It's just riding bikes.
I have PTSD from riding bikes.
But then you start to see the results from it, and so you can see that having those things add up over time adds up to their champion mindset.
Right.
Because then they've been able to feel successful in an element of their their routine,
Yeah.
showing up to the gym X number of days a week. They were able to get in that extra cardio class X number of times during the week or the month, whatever it was. They were able to be consistent with their eating or their water intake, or they remember to stretch every morning before they went to work, and suddenly their low back is not hurting all day. Things like that.
Yeah.
You know, and so it adds up to those little things, and then all of a sudden they have purpose in everything that they're doing through the day. They're stretching in the morning because they know it's going to help them so their back doesn't feel tight and sore because they sit at a desk or they're behind a wheel of a vehicle all day. They feel purpose in what they're eating. I'm eating this extra snack in the morning because I know it's going to help me to keep my energy through the day so I don't crash and need a Red Bull halfway through the afternoon. They feel successful at being consistent with their workouts. So now they're starting to see their strength gains or their muscle gains or their fat loss gains or their endurance gains or whatever it is. So they see purpose in making an effort to show up 3 days a week or 4 days a week or how often it is. So they see purpose behind all of those things, and then suddenly they're more focused. They're more focused at, okay, I'm going to make sure I stretch this because I know that is feeling tight from my workout the other day. Or I'm going to make sure I'm going to roll out my lats because I've got a big back workout with Sarah later. So I'm going to make sure that I'm moving well, right?
And I think, like, just you saying, like, they have more focus, and that's so true, but they have more awareness, right? Not only just for, like, what they're doing in the gym, but their awareness just for, like you said, being in the moment, being present. And I think that, like, training and working out is so much more than just training and working out. It's a lifestyle that pays off into these little things that you get so caught up with. Oh, I've worked 265 days out of the year and I don't even know what I did.
Yeah.
Right? Well, you know, you need a little bit more awareness then of what you're doing so that you can actually go back and recall those things. And that's what I love, you know, about working out, about training. And now what you're talking about is instilling this champion mindset, is being able to reflect and recall back and be there.
Right? So even if it's just those little details that, you know, in your consistency in your workout, or changing those little things in your diet, or doing something to help your body move better so you can do all the other things that you want to be able to do in life. It's that if those are the things that are important to you to get the result that is important to you, those are the characteristics of a champion for you, right? So helping people to figure out what these things are. And that can take time. I mean, I've been training as a bodybuilder for 7 years, but I've been lifting for longer. I've been a group fitness instructor for 10 years now, and then, you know, an active my whole life. And it takes a long time to figure these things out. Some people figure it out like that, and it's like, good on you, man. That's great. But sometimes
their races to each their own.
Yeah, it's. I mean, it's not a race to the finish line. It's. You know, it's that journey of self-discovery to figure out, what do you want out of all of this? What do you want as the end result? But then also realizing that there really is no end result, right? It's like, well, what's the state that you want to be?
Right.
That you want to be? Do you want to be, you know, comfortable with where you are? Do you want to be able to advance to the next level in your sport, or in your health and fitness, in your abilities? Like, do you want to go from just being able to get to the gym 3 days a week to being able to run a marathon one day? Maybe you want to join a rec league football team or something, you know, with your buddies or something like that. Maybe you want to try stepping on stage one day. Who knows? Like,
I say that now that I don't want to do that, and you know what? 5 years time, there I am.
Who knows?
Who knows?
Right? And I will be there to make fun of your tan, just the same.
And my arm in the back, just.
And yeah.
That's the reason why I don't even want to even think about it. I'm just like, somebody's gonna call my arm a banana, and then I'm gonna cry, and then I'm gonna be pissed off.
There are worse things.
That's true. When I see like some of those some guys,
that's not a limitation, Parker. That's a unique feature.
I guess so.
You know how many times my first 3 years of competing, all of my stage photos, I didn't smile showing my teeth. I smiled like this.
Right, I remember you telling me this.
Because I have a crooked smile.
Right.
And I thought it looked stupid. And I don't like it. Sorry, Mom. She thinks it's adorable all the time. She's
I was like, what'd your mom do?
It's like so delightfully Sarah. And I'm just like, it's still crooked. But it's something that is unique to me.
Yeah.
And I've come to embrace it. And now every single time I compete, I will smile as big as I can until my face feels like it's going to spasm. And it hurts. But, crooked, right? So embrace the uniqueness.
I'm trying. It's getting better. It's getting better at that.
Right? But because if the arm is just as big, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
So kind of building on that, and I've loved everything that you've said, because one, I'm experiencing that with you, and I'm a testament to all of that, right?
Figure out what kind of champion you are.
Exactly. And but now building kind of on to what I had down in your personal life, right? So in personal relationships with family, with friends, because a lot of the time, a lot of people can be like, they're so focused on their goals that they disregard other people around them, right? And I've talked with, and getting to know you, I've talked with you, and I know that, family is the most important thing, like that is the all be all for you. And so how did, having this champion mindset and being so focused on a personal goal, how did you have time, or how did you have energy then to pour into your family or your friendships and relationships and stuff like that?
How did I have energy to maintain focus on family and friends?
Yes.
You just do it. If it's important to you, you do it. It's really that simple. So, yes, bodybuilding is a very unique sport in that it takes up a lot of time. It is very individual, right? It's an individual sport.
Yeah. Right?
I train by myself. I cardio by myself. I eat by myself. I prep my food by myself usually. So, there's, kind of that stigma that bodybuilding can be a very lonely sport.
Yeah.
But, I've found ways over the years to, I don't want to say like make it less lonely, but to be able to find ways to still achieve the things I need to achieve, get the tasks done that I need to get done, but in a more social way. And for me, that big thing was group fitness. And that was a big, big thing that helped me get through because, it's fairly known in bodybuilding. There's a lot of cardio that must be done, right? Endless hours of cardio to achieve the conditioning that one needs to. And I could run on the treadmill by myself for, hours on end. I have a spin bike at home. I can sit in a little room and do that by myself. Or I can teach a class with 30 of my fellow spinners, and energy is just hype through the roof. And I have so much more fun, and quite honestly, will work way harder when I'm teaching a class or attending a class for that matter.
Right.
So I found ways of being able to integrate my cardio portion of my training using group fitness, whether I'm teaching a class or just attending a class.
Right.
Has made it that much more social, allow me to connect to so much more people.
Right.
As well as to share my journey with those people. Because I have people who go to my classes every week for years. So they've seen me progress, through my different phases of training, through off-season Sarah and through on-season Sarah. And from like little baby Sarah to where Sarah is today. And, having their support through all of it has been exponentially meaningful over the years. And, I teach that last class before my competition, and they're all just like, we're gunning for you, Sarah. And I'm just like, I can't race 5 more minutes, guys. Keep going. It's too many feelings. Just spin faster. I'll be over here. But, having that kind of team atmosphere.
Yeah.
Still within individual sport.
Because that is. Those
has really helped. Because, mean, yes, I still do a lot of the cardio by myself because sometimes I just have to, just for that. But, you know, if I can go to a class and I can, you know, knock out, you know, a killer cardio session with my friends next to me and all of us hooting and hollering and cheering each other on, absolutely I'll do that. And if I can do half of my cardio for a prep and get paid for it, even better.
So just getting creative with the process then is more or less the point.
Yeah, things like that you don't have to do it all by yourself.
Right.
And even things like, you know, not wanting to sacrifice, you know, like Sunday family dinners.
Okay. Going
to my family's, you know, home for dinner every Sunday night. Mm-hmm. So obviously I'm not able to eat whatever delicious cooking my mother has made. Most of it that she'll cook whatever she's cooking, and I sit with my Tupperware. And it's like, this is just as good.
Do you ever just get mad? Do you ever just like, why would you make that while I'm eating?
No. I've
See, I think that's where I would struggle. I'd be like,
it's hard, but it's you know, you figure it out over the years, and you know, and it's just something that I have to do. So sure, I'd rather eat my mother's cooking because it's way better. It's cooked with butter. But I can't. Like, that's not going to help me towards my goal. I need to eat what I'm supposed to eat.
Yeah.
So still being able to participate, but bringing my own meals because I've prepared them ahead of time. I've prepared my meals so I can still go and attend dinners with my family on Sunday nights. And when I still have cardio to do, there's a cardio machine in the basement in front of the TV. So they're all watching their TV movies and I'm behind them on the elliptical. So we're still together, but I'm doing the cardio and they're eating popcorn, and that's cool too. But so still being able to spend the time with them. And
I love that you weren't joking about that.
No, 100%. 100% not. No. Because then every 5 minutes, my father will turn around and being like, "Are you still going?" Yes.
Just come sit down.
Yes, I'm still going. How much longer do you have? 7 more minutes, Dad. You're breathing heavy. Yep, I am. Okay, 7 more minutes. Off we go. You know, or even being able to attend, you know, social gatherings with friends.
Right.
Going out to restaurants with friends or going over to, you know, well, I guess that's not so much right now, but, you know, spending time with friends and bringing my own food.
Yeah.
You know, and not eating whatever snacks or drinks that have been put out and not being tempted by it.
Yeah.
Because I know that that is not going to help me, and that's just, like, it's just food.
But that temptation is always there, I imagine.
If I'm completely honest, no.
You've blocked it out?
I can block it out. I can block it out.
I think that's a superhuman gift that you have.
We all have our superpower. Yeah. Apparently, not eating food is mine. Although the past couple of days would be on the contrary. But
well, okay, that's when it's allowed. You earned that.
But, you know, being able to still do the things that are a priority to me, like spending time with my friends and maintaining those relationships and not shutting myself out for 6 months while I'm prepping for something, because that's no fun either.
Yeah.
You know, is another important thing. And so that means being able to overcome temptation from things like food or drink or staying out later than I should because I have to get up and do cardio at 4:30 the next day. You know, I know, barf, right? Yeah. But it's got to be done. Yeah. You know, so it's those are the attributes of my champion mindset. Right, and those are things that I would not impart upon other people because that's extreme.
Yeah,
right. You know, but I can take versions of it.
Yeah,
you know, like the food temptation thing, which is probably one of the biggest things that I will deal with my clients and people is getting them to be like, well, why did you eat that?
So then coming back to it is how then. So you don't have really the trouble, you know, with the temptation and everything like that, but majority of our clients do. And every personal trainer I feel like experiences this. So how do you, without just giving them your program and be like, good luck, how do you then help them with that if there's...
Yeah, because the goal is not to give them just a structured food plan and being like, eat this and you'll reach your goal.
Yeah.
Because for someone who's never done that before, that's not a long-term solution, right? So I want to be able to teach people how to make those good choices for themselves. And that's hard for some people to learn how to do on their own. So, you know, they'll ask me, it's like, well, how do you do it? It's like you eat so strict all the time. Like, well, I have a plan that I follow from a coach who tells me what to eat, right? So, but that's for a very specific purpose. But outside of that, when I'm off season and I have a little more freedom in my eating, how do I still stay, within general guidelines and not fly off the rails and I can eat whatever I want? And for me, the mentality had to shift about food, right? The mindset about food had to shift. Because so much of our social construct is surrounding food, social gatherings, celebrations.
It's like romanticized.
Everything is surrounding and involving food in some way. So food becomes a center of our social structure. It becomes a pleasure in our lives, and we use it as a reward system. Like, I don't have children, but, you use children. It's like, if you go to bed, you can have dessert. If you do this, you can have dessert. It's like using food as a reward translates into adulthood very easily.
Yeah.
Interesting. And can lead to problems in that aspect. So for me, the mindset shifted to that food is fuel. It's not a reward. It's not a pleasure. It's not something to make me feel good. Food is fuel. It's something that I consume so that my body can operate and do the things that I need it to do. Daily life, in my gym life, in my workouts, in my cardio, in whatever I need it to do. Food is fuel. And I came to this when my coach gave me the analogy of your body is like a car. And if you want your body to work like a high-performance machine, it requires
high-performance
fuel, right? High-quality fuel. So if you want your body to run like a Ferrari, you're going to put good quality nutrition and good quality nutrients and food into it. If you want it to operate like a Honda Civic, you're going to put unleaded 87 octane. No shade to Honda, but you know what I mean? Like, you don't put 87 octane in a Ferrari and expect it to run like a Ferrari.
Right.
So not to say that everyone's trying to be a Ferrari, but, on some,
there's
scaled level of that. Is that if you want your body to run well, you want it to feel good, you want it to feel energized and fueled and capable of doing the things you want it to do, from the time you wake up to the time you go to sleep, whether that's just going to work, whether it's handling your kids and your family, your job, a workout in there somewhere, you got to put fuel in the tank, right? And if that fuel is donuts, you're not going to get very far. Sorry,
Swift
bro.
little call out.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, I have an avid donut addiction, so.
I mean, at least you eat good donuts.
Yeah,
but still.
Yeah, that's true.
But, it's that's just one example, right? Yeah. And so, yes, I eat very simply, very plain. I don't mind eating the same thing every day. But I mean, good quality protein, fresh vegetables,
ketchup.
Good. Nothing wrong with my ketchup. Don't be harping on my ketchup. But like good complex carbohydrates for good fuel, things like that are what make my body feel good and allow me to do the things that I do.
Right.
So those are the things, the kind of things that I try and, teach the people that I work with to try and think of food as your fuel.
Yeah.
So when they choose to go to the drive-thru or they get that breakfast sandwich, instead of making, eggs and toast or, having a bowl of whole wheat cereal in the morning instead, and they have their, their breakfast sandwich that's greasy and such, and they wonder why they're bagged by 11 a.m. It's like, well, did you put good fuel in the tank today? No. Well, then there you go.
So everything that you just mentioned, like with just doing it, right? Being consistent takes time, right? Those are the things that, especially in our society, we don't want to hear because we want things like that,
Yeah, you want the instant gratification. You want the results, and you want the results now.
Yeah, and that is such it's not a sexy thing to say, or
no.
So.
But that's why taking the strategy of focusing on the little wins, like the little victories, and those little things that make you a champion day to day are what help to add up to those long-term things, right? So you might not get the big result on day one, but on day one, you started. right? On day 2, you may not have the big result, but on day 2, you were consistent from day 1, right? So it's just, it's those little things, and it's celebrating those things with your clients, with your members, with the people that you're coaching, to keep them motivated and keep them on track, right? So that they don't lose sight of the end goal or the overall thing that they're trying to achieve.
And that even speaks true to having a coach in all, right? And I think one of the best things, you've said loads of great things to me that I've held with myself and applied to my business and even kept at focus for myself. But you said a really great trainer by their clients' consistency of coming into the gym, right? I mean, you, for one, your clients never miss a session.
No, they don't.
Right, and you even paid testament to that for your coach as well, right? You shared some stories with me about him, how some of his clients like even got into a car accident and still showed up for their session with him because they were so that like committed, not only to him, but because he was that committed to them. Yeah. Right, and vice versa with you. And now I try to be like that with my clients. So I think it's very interesting. Even to as you share with us all the mindsets and the traits of a champion, you go back in time, and I'm speaking upon The Last Dance, the documentary that came out with Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls and all that. It's literally the exact same thing of what you've talked about. What does it take to be a champion? All of those things.
For the record, I have not seen They'll Save the Last Dance. I'm sorry, internet. I'm sorry. It's on
okay.
my list. I will watch it. I promise. I'll get to it.
But more the point is like, so and even too, like people hearing this are like, oh great, they said the same shit Michael Jordan said. Nobody has the perfect pill that I can just take and get it done with like that. And thank God we don't, because how
well, then I wouldn't have a job.
Exactly.
We wouldn't have a job.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah. So just speaking appreciation to everything that you've shared upon the champion mindset and how important that is, and how there's not a secret to it, how there's no secret pill, how there's no secret thing you have to do.
That's very much it, Parker, and you've hit it on the head that there really is no secret. It really is that simple of just do it. You want the results, put in the work. And it's just as simple as that. It's, hard work pays off, all those whatever you want to call it, but it really is that simple. It's like, you want a big reward, fucking work for it. It is always worth it. Whatever the hustle, whatever the grind, whatever you need to go through to make it happen, it is always worth it. Always.
Love it. Well, you know what? I think that even answers my next question. The last question that I have for you is, there is a 20-year-old Sarah right now jumping into the gym, jumping on an elliptical right now, not knowing what's ahead of her, not really having a goal, not really having a focus, but just knowing that she's taking her life in control. And whatever comes her way is what comes her way. So what advice would you give to somebody right now in that very position that you found yourself in when you were 20 years old?
Learn to squat properly right now. And stretch more. Always stretch more. That's very Sarah specific. But if I'm looking back at, looking at somebody young who's just starting out, the very first thing I have to say for them is, good for you. Way to go. I'm glad you got started. That was the best decision that you could have made. Now let's go from there. Let's be better. Because you were here, we can take you there. There's always something better that you can do.
Love that.
Because it's always worth it.
Beautiful. Beautiful. All right, Sarah, thank you so much for coming on the show. This has been such a joy.
Wonderful.
I'm so happy.
Thank you so much for having me, Parker. This is great.
Of course. All right, you guys, thank you so much for watching again. If you liked this episode, please like and share it. And then until next time, we will see you guys. Take care of yourselves.